kind of tossed it out a long time ago, and we kind of moved past pluses. This because we stopped doing cell signaling. You need to know what AMP activated protein kinase is. It tells you exactly what it is in its name, but you have to know enough to stop to think about it. All right? AMP activated protein kinase. So you've got a protein kinase. You're breaking down certain proteins, right? What's it activated by? AMP activated.
It's
AMP.
levels of AMP.
Right. When you have a lot of AMP, what is that telling you about your body
You're
state?
using energy.
You're using energy. You're in the fasting state. Okay? If you are taking a lot of ATP and turning it into AMP, and you're building up more AMP, it means you're using energy faster than you can replace it. So AMP activated protein kinase is a molecule that gets activated when AMP starts to rise, which means that ATP is starting to fall. So again, going back to the exam, there's nothing in this sentence that doesn't make any sense, but you have to go back to your 353 and go, ATP turns into AMP when, right? And what does it mean to be AMP activated? Am I fed or am I fasting? So everything you need to know is in those 4 words, but you have to stop and think about it, right? So that means this exam is either really easy because you can get everything you need from the question, or it means that it's going to be like that. For better or for worse, right? So you need to make sure when you bring that paper in, you've reminded yourself of things you might forget, so that you can read the words and go backwards, because I'm giving you what you need to know, but I'm assuming you know certain things that we've already talked about. So if you're going to forget those things, write them down. Okay? All right. Oh, hang on. Let's do this first, and then we'll do the format in just a second. Okay, so I'm not going to give you this whole diagram and go fill this in. But this diagram, if you understand how to read it, will provide you a review of the entire class. In other words, so when AMP, activated protein kinase, is active, right? When that means that you're in a low energy or a fasting state. So what happens? I don't care about my hypothalamic neurons. I do care about, we talked about acetylcarboxylase, right? We talked about what that does. So this little line right there means when we're in low energy conditions, we stop using ACC2. And this tells you that the reason we stop using ACC2 is because ACC2 promotes production of malonyl-CoA. If we're making malonyl-CoA, when you draw the quiz, malonyl-CoA is used in elongation of fatty acids, okay, among other things. If you're elongating fatty acids, are you making stuff or are you breaking stuff down?
You're making stuff.
Right. So if you're making stuff, are you in a low energy state?
High.
Right. You're in a high energy state. So when AMP activated protein kinase is active, you are shutting down ACC2 because you're not making, you're breaking. Okay? Same thing, ACC1, we talked about that. And then this is the total end of it, right? Like, the only well, there are a couple confusing things about this diagram, but specifically, the thing you have to remember is that these arrows and these T's tell you whether AMP, activated protein kinase, encourages or discourages this piece. Everything from here on over tells you what that piece does. So like HMG-CoA reductase, it tells you that HMG-CoA reductase makes sterols, or cholesterol. HMG-CoA reductase takes HMG, 3-hydroxy-3-methylbutyrol, and turns it into mevalonate. Now, remember I told you before you need that enzyme? So when are you making cholesterol? Fed or fasting? Fed. What's happening if AMP activated protein kinase is active? Fasting. So you shut that down. Okay? So now down here, don't worry about EF2K. But again, mTORC1. We just talked about mTORC1. When is mTORC1 active? When can we make protein?
When you have enough in the system.
Fed. When is AMP activated protein kinase active? Fasting. Okay? AMP activated protein kinase means you have lots of AMP, not very much ATP. So you need to do things to get more ATP. mTORC 1 is active when you have enough ATP, when you have enough fuel to do what you want, and it's time to start growing.
So is that kind of like what you want on the exam?
Yeah, you have to be able to put the pieces together. So there's two parts. mTORC 1, I'm going to want you to really understand it. Whether I ask you to explain it outright, or whether I ask you specific things about what it does, right? That you really need to know, because that's our new piece from 19. For the rest of the exam, it's much more like this. I'll tell you, acetyl carboxylase 2 does this in muscle. You're going to talk to me about the fed versus the fasting state, okay? I really want you to understand AMP activated protein kinase, but if I just hand you the word AMP activated protein kinase on the exam, you can figure it out from those 4 words. And if you understand what that means, you can answer all the rest of the questions associated with AMP activated protein kinase. Because you understand when we're oxidizing fats for fuel, when we're making fats for storage, when we have enough glucose available, when we don't. Does that make sense? I know it seems, the words are very confusing, and I'll be honest with you that so I've been writing this exam, and I've actually had kind of fun writing it. And some of the questions, so it's just, yeah.
I don't know how to react to that.
Some of the multiple choice, so the way it's going to be phrased, getting back to the question from earlier, is there are 45 to 50 like multiple choice, true, false type of questions, including those ones where I give you 5 and you put them in order, right? Or I give you 5 and you associate matching wise. So you're going to have that, and I haven't decided 45 or 50 yet because I'm trying to decide whether the essays are worth 20 or 25. So I'm just waiting, like I have to manipulate the points. So it's between 45 and 50 because I always have an extra 5 questions if I feel like doing that. The questions, some of the questions, multiple choice. So some of the answers have. Did I take pictures of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take them again just in case. I guess I could just look.